Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, so a little NASCAR news from this week. As we all know, the 2022 Bank of American Roval 400 was on Sunday at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the interior road course. As we know, some of the facts of this is Christopher Bell won his way into the round of 8. We know that, for the most part, I enjoyed this race. I will be completely 100% honest. I personally enjoyed this race. I know a lot of people, based on Sirius Satellite Radio, did not. They absolutely hated this race, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. Why I enjoyed it was because we had pit strategy. We had, crew chiefs decide, okay, we're going to short pit stage 1, we're going to give up stage points, we're going to get track position. You got another group of people that says, you know what, we're going for stage points, and that's it. We don't, if we get track position, great. You had drivers such as AJ Allmendinger, no need for stage points. He went ahead and pitted, short pitted, before the pit road closed, like, 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go. He was still able to get stage points. He got one stage, he finished 10th in stage 1. You had Joey Logano go out there and get that playoff point, win stage 1, got those 10 points for the race, got marred back in traffic, and during stage 2, he finally was able to work himself up to 7th, but a lot of people had to pit before that happened. You had drivers like Chase Briscoe that was sitting 14th at the end of stage 2, and his crew chief decided, you know what, maybe we should stay out, let everyone else pit, we'll get some stage points. And I think at the end of this race, a lot of controversy. Now, as a huge pro wrestling fan, you follow Robert's Sports Show, you know that. Controversy creates cash. Now, did the controversy of this race, did NASCAR do that just because of that little motto? No. Honestly, this is fully 100% my opinion. I've done a small amount, because normally I write things down, I set up how I'm going to do the video. This one's just kind of off the cuff right now. But yeah, when the caution came out for that sign laying there on the track with, 10 to go or whatever it was, I know there was reports that it had been there for 20 laps, it had been there for X number of laps, which, from watching the race, and because there was a couple times right before that sign was there where they literally show the entire infield course, I didn't see it. Now, there was one point, probably 2 or 3 laps before that, there was something that was on the rumble strips in the same, right around one of the right-hand corners. Because if you watch it, they kind of follow the car into the corner, kind of the overhead down shot, like the drone shot. And you can see something over in the rumble strips, but I'm not sure if it was the sign or what it was. But then they threw the caution, and that was at, where was that? Whatever, 10 to go or whatever it was. We had the restart. We had mayhem happen. We all knew that was going to happen. People got in people. Cars were spinning in turn 1. I know a lot of people says NASCAR is inconsistent on throwing caution flags, because they did throw a caution flag there. It's a 17-turn, 2-mile track, 2.5 mile, whatever. What is the Roval? Let me look that up real quick here. .28, 17-mile track. They averaged 86 mile an hour per lap. So the average speed of the race was, average speed 86.661. So I agree with not throwing a caution when all those cars were turned around in turn 1, because there was time for them to get straightened out before the field came back in. I know some people said, well, couldn't they just throw a local caution? Well, NASCAR doesn't do local cautions. It's not Formula 1 or IndyCar. And I kind of agree with that, because, again, parts of this track are faster than other parts. All it takes is that worker running out there to grab that sign. What if he trips and falls? What if that sign is stuck somehow and he can't get it up, and you've got a car barreling down at you? No, There's no reason to put people on the track during green flag. Throw a caution, do what they did. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with not having a caution there because they got all got running beforehand. Of course, in that chicane, in the backstretch chicane, just like we saw at Circuit of America the first year, or was it Circuit of America, or was it, what was it? I don't remember which road course it was, where we had the same kind of deal go on, where we tore up a rumble strip. Wait, Circuit of America was right, maybe Road America. But anyway, whatever track it was last year, we tore up rumble strips. That when you bounce off of something, constantly bouncing off of it, 40, you know, there's still 38 cars on the track, that many times, the thing's going to break. So they had to throw the red flag to get that fixed. Of course, we knew green, white, checkered, chaos is going to happen. When that happened, and we look at the points, Larson was +7, Cindric +6, Suarez -6, Briscoe -11. When the white flag came out with 1 to go, that right before the last lap, it was Hamlin, Larson +5, Briscoe -5, Suarez -7. This was 1 to go. Bell was already leading, so Bell was technically already in. It ended with Chastain -6, Briscoe +2, Larson -2. That chaotic restart on that last lap, we all knew it was going to happen. As soon as they red flagged it, you knew it was going to be a restart. You knew it was going to be green, white, checkered. You knew chaos was going to happen. Now, what NASCAR done on that last lap, when 41 slowed down, we've all seen it. I imagine if you listen to XM Satellite Radio, Channel 90 NASCAR Radio, you've heard what the crew chief said. The crew chief says to the driver, "You have a tire going down." How is it possible for a crew chief on the pit box, away from the car, to know a tire is going down? None of the data that shows up on all these computer screens these crew chiefs have has anything to do with air pressure. He had zero visibility on this car. And he tells the driver the tire is going down. He needs to back off of it. Number one, the driver should know if the tire is going down. Number two, maybe the spotter would see it, if he would have got into something, but I don't recall seeing tire smoke. And I mean, I still have it on my DVR, I can go play it, but I don't recall seeing tire smoke in that. NASCAR deemed that to be manipulating because we all know what happened. Cole Custer backed off early, blocked Austin Dillon, who happened to spin Chase Briscoe out earlier as well. That's funny. And then Chase Briscoe dive-bombed. And that's what caught me because I'm watching and going, did he just dive-bomb it that bad? Or what did Briscoe do? Or did Custer do something? And then Junior's like, they showed the replay, Junior's like, he blocked for his teammate. It's like, oh great, that's not allowed. Now, blocking for a teammate. Again, there's been a lot of talk this week so far. What constitutes blocking? What's the difference between for Cole Custer blocking Austin Dillon there for Chase Briscoe versus a few weeks ago at Talladega when, let's just say the leader, the top lane is getting a run, the leader goes up to block him and then comes back down. Blocking, what's the difference? My opinion, again, my opinion, and it's right, but it's my opinion. If you take Daytona, Talladega, I hate to say it, Atlanta, the super speedways, blocking is typical. You see it from everyone all the time. You're not technically blocking for a teammate. If you do block for a teammate, okay, fine. but everyone blocks everyone on that style of racing. At the Roval, you don't normally block someone going into the backstretch chicane. To me, that's what the difference is. You know, people were calling in saying this, that, and the other. You know, last year, Chase Elliott blocked Kevin Harvick for his teammate to win. He even said on the radio, getting to speak what he was doing. To me, here's the thing on that one. It wasn't the last lap. I know the rule doesn't say this. I've got a Twitter argument with people on that. But here's when NASCAR's officiating these things, they're done by case basis. You cannot officiate every single instance the exact same way every time. Can't do it. It's based by case basis. In that scenario that everyone's talked about, 3 laps to go, Kyle Larson got around Harvick. During the time that it started until that moment, to my knowledge, if there was SMT data that shows differently, let me know. I want to see it. But in this case with Briscoe, there's, data that showed he purposely slowed down ahead of time. If you look at his data going to that corner, every lap before that, it was different than that one lap. That day where Chase Elliott, the data didn't show that. Yeah, I know there was times he was running his line, he was basically blocking him. Harvick had some options. One, spin him out, get him out of your way. You've done it once already, do it again. That would have eliminated that. Or as people would say, wall him. You're telling me he wasn't close enough to wall him. From what I remember, he was from time to time. People bring up others, I guess Eric Jones' crew chief a few years ago told him do not pass Denny Hamlin. To me, it's technically, if you want to, it's manipulating the rules. By telling someone not to pass someone, you're costing if you don't make that pass as a driver, Eric Jones, you're costing yourself more than you are helping the other team. And so, that's my opinion. This is completely different. And I said that on Twitter yesterday to some people. If you look at all the things that people keep bringing up, to me, they're different. Here's why. This was the last lap. This was a playoff race. Yes, all 36 races should be officiated the same way. So forget the playoff. This was the last lap. If you can show me a time where on the last lap that NASCAR, when somebody purposely into a corner slowed down to block someone on a track that you normally don't block people, because Talladega Daytona you do block, everyone blocks, we all know this, and you find the exact same situation on that last lap, corner, blah 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 blah, okay, I'll agree with you, NASCAR should penalize him. As for the picking on Kevin Harvick because of the penalty, come on now, guys. Yes, it was a random draw of the 4-car going to the R&D Center. Yeah, random. But here's the thing. Just like most employers do random drug tests. If you do a random drug test as a company and you're around people that work for you, and you sense or think, I wonder, and a random drug test just happens to pop up for that person. If they're not doing anything wrong, they don't have to worry. But guess what? If you're doing something and a random drug test pops up and you test positive and you get fired for it, that's on you. The fact that Harvick is saying all this stuff in the media, that's fine. It's his right to do that. But just because a random inspection pops up and he failed it, there's like all the conspiracy theory, the tinfoil helmet people and the black helicopter people going, NASCAR did this or NASCAR's wrong or whatever. Guess what? Stewart Haas had the opportunity to appeal it. Here's what happens when an appeal like that. They go in front of the appeals panel. They pull out a decla and say, This is what a deck lid's supposed to be. Boom. Here's what our deck lid is. Boom. See, they're the same. We did nothing wrong. Penalty's gone. But instead of going to the appeals panel, they withdrew their appeal. You have a $200,000 penalty and you withdraw your appeal? That tells me you're guilty. But again, that's my opinion. The whole thing with the crew chief says the tire's flat. Driver backs off of it. I know a lot of people saying, well, Custer was in control of the car. He could have chose to not listen. Dude's 25th in points. Dude hasn't won a race in 2 years. There's been 50 rumors this year of him losing his ride for next year. Everybody and their brother had Kyle Busch in that car. They interviewed Kevin Harvick about Kyle Busch driving for Stewart Haas. You really think Cole Custer is going to, not listen to his crew chief and do something that's against what he's being told? No, I wouldn't either. I'd be like, okay, whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. Yeah, they got a penalty over it. Big penalty over it. Manipulating the results. You can't fault you can't say this didn't happen. It happened. The crew chief couldn't see the car. How does the crew chief know the tires going low or tires going down? He doesn't. That was their code for back off. Now, is teammates going to help teammates going forward? Oh yeah. It's going to happen a lot. Are they going to use code words? Is it going to be mother chicken? Okay, it's going to be, they're going to do it. We have 4 races left in the season. This season has been one of the greatest seasons in NASCAR history. 19 different winners. We've had teams that normally don't win. We've had drivers 5 drivers get their first career win. We have a round of 8 of playoffs. Chase Elliott, Joe Logano, former champions. Ross Chastain, never been here before. Christopher Bell, never been here before. Ryan Blaney, he's been here before. William Byron, never been here before. Denny Hamlin, old news. Chase Briscoe, never been here before. We lost this round. Alex Bowman, unfortunately, because of the concussions, which is horrible. Austin Cindric, Dino Suarez, Kyle Larson. Cindric, rookie this year. He's made the top 12. Dino Suarez, he's never made the playoffs before. I mean, we've had such a unique season. Again, the greatest season in NASCAR history, in my opinion. Most wins in modern era, 19 different winners. We'll get the 20 for the year's over with. It's been a great year. I know it's been bad because of the 2 concussions. Kurt Busch, which he has an announcement this weekend in Vegas. Everyone thinks the announcement is more than likely Kurt retiring. I hope not. I hope it's more, I'll be back in February. I'll be back in Phoenix. With the news recently broken of 2311 buying Tyler Reddick's contract from RCR, my guess is Kurt's going to go part-time. I think he'll still have the itch to race big races. So I'm assuming they'll have Tyler Reddick in a full-time ride, Bubba Wallace on a full-time ride, Kurt doing a part-time third car for him. Unchartered, more than likely, which is fine. But then that probably opens the 18 up for Ty Gibbs, which is fine. Actually, I would put that Martin Truex in the 18 and Gibbs in the 54, but that's my opinion. We have Alex Bowman. This will be out definitely in the next 3 races, so that leaves the possibility of coming back at Phoenix. I know NASCAR recently announced they're doing a rear collision crash test. They came up with some things that are going to be better, which is great. I know in 2022, everyone wants transparency. Everybody wants to know everything now. And people call in, just again, to Channel 90 on XM Radio and saying that this stuff needs to be behind closed doors. Fans don't need to know it. Yeah, but when I pull up Wikipedia and look and go, wait, why is Kevin Harvick now 16th in points? Oh, what's this say? Issued an L2 penalty after post-race inspection at Talladega for illegal modification of single-source parts, 100-point deduction. If I didn't know that, and I pull this up and it says that, I'm going to be like, well, huh? Eric Jones lost 35 points as a result of a rocker pedal violation in Pocono. If these were closed-door penalties, and I pull that up going, huh? What's that about? No. I mean, I love what they did with the Harvick penalty. They were pretty much out about this. This is what it is. This is what we found. Same way with the stuff with Cole Custer. It was like, here it is. Everything. You make your choice. People are siding with NASCAR. People aren't. What else has been going on this week? Lots going on this week, right? William Byron penalty. Yeah. Purposely spun out Denny Hamlin under caution and says, I did it. I purposely did it. I did it because I didn't like him. I was mad at him. He got penalized 35 points or 50 points or whatever it was. And then 25 points and $50,000, and they appealed it. And then appeal was heard. The appeal panel said, keep your points. We'll take $100,000 from you. You know, Mr. H wrote that check before he left the appeals panel, right? Oh yeah, Mr. H pulled that checkbook. I said, here you go. Don't change your mind. I'm going. So by appealing the William Byron penalty, getting those 25 points back, he literally manipulated. There we go. You want to use that word, folks? He manipulated the standings that put William Byron in, put his own driver Kyle Larson out. I don't look at it that way personally. He appealed it. The appeals panel changed their mind. That's fine, just like they did with Jeremy Clemens. They appealed the penalty for the intake. Guess what? He got his points back, made the playoffs. That's fine. You know, back in 1990, Mark Martin was fined 25 points, was it? Let's see if I can find that. For you youngins not old enough to remember this, in 1990, Mark Martin, let me find it here, see if it tells me. After the second race of the year, which was Richmond, February 25th, see if there's any details on here. Yeah, here we go. Mark Martin won the race, only to lose 46 championship points after NASCAR officials discovered somewhat oversized carburetor spacer plate in his car. The ultimate became a key factor in eliminating him from the 1990 championship. It was admitted later that the spacer plate was actually not oversized and not technically illegal. The part was bolted on instead of welded on, thus landing in a gray area of the NASCAR rules. Dale Earnhardt and his car owner Richard Childress, who finished second of the race, protested the result because of the findings of the post-race inspection. NASCAR eventually ruled that Mark Martin and car owner Jack Roush would keep the victory but lose 46 points as a result of the infraction. This has spanned many years over speculation that NASCAR was biased toward Earnhardt, the eventual 7-time champion, but given the race was only a second of the season, 27 remaining, nobody could have foreseen that the penalty would decide the points. When we say the penalty decided the points, so 46-point penalty, Mark Martin lost that points championship by 26 points. So he would have won by 20, but he lost by 26 because of that penalty in race 2 of the year. Because it was bolted on and not welded on. So NASCAR has been down the road where penalties have cost people things. That would have been Mark Martin's only championship. So NASCAR, that's why the appeals panel is the way it is. So that way when you have a penalty, you can appeal it. It's heard by a bipartisan third-party penalties committee. They can rule, change it, leave it, modify it, leave it, or get rid of it. So that's where that came from, because the situation is like that. You know what? They appealed it. They won. Fine. Move on. To me, if somebody else decides to go, you know what? He got away with it. $100,000. I got that. I'm going to go do that. And you get caught. And NASCAR, I know people complain, NASCAR missed it. I'm sorry. I've seen if people bring up stick and ball sports all the time, and I love that. NASCAR missed it. They should have just left it alone. Yeah, that's a unique precedent to me. By going back and reviewing it and penalizing them, it's just like with the NFL. How many times have we seen on Monday, Tuesday, after games, X player got X fine because because of X hit on X player that wasn't called in the game, but it was an illegal hit. They get fined money for it all the time. To me, it's the same kind of deal. NASCAR came up with people were clamoring for the results to be final quicker. So NASCAR does post-race inspection. They tear down the top 3 cars. They do base inspection on all the cars, tear down the top 3, verify everything's good, official the results, and done. Any other issues, if they had to take cars to the R&D center, or if there's something like the Byron thing or whatever, we do that on Tuesday. People are complaining about that. Wait 2 days. Fine. The only other option would be, which I hate, is not an option in my mind. I like the way we're doing it, is let's not get the results on Sunday. Let's wait till Monday till the results are official. Let's let time to go through everything, and then we can dock people from the race, DQ people or whatever. So in the William Byron case, we wouldn't have found the final results of the race out until the next day. Then we could have gone ahead and go ahead and disqualified him from the race, and then or parked him, which he would have lost 23 points. He would have got parked, and be done with it. No, get the results out, official them, do penalties later. I'm cool with that. It gives people something to talk about on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. But yeah, I mean, these people that I've seen some people online that said NASCAR or Hendrick bought the points back, or NASCAR bought the points back for Byron. No, they didn't. The oversight committee or penalty committee gave it back to them. They changed it, and NASCAR reworded the rule book because of that. But all right, that's going to wrap up this little news thing, kind of what my opinion on everything that's going on. I think it's been the greatest season in NASCAR history. I've continued thinking that. There's no way you can change my mind. 19 winners in, 32 races, 4 races left. We'll get a 20th winner. The greatest season in NASCAR history, 2022. The first season of the next-gen car. Again, I am a fan of the next-gen car. I think it is good for the sport long-term. I know there's some talk about finance and stuff with the TV deal coming up. I think, I think it's 93-7 split that NASCAR is doing right now. Teams are saying no, we're losing money. 85-15 and call it good. 80-20 would be better, but 85-15, make everyone happy, get some money to everyone. The more people we have in the sport, car-owner-wise, the better the sport is. So when the Michael Jordans, the Pit Bulls come in, the better for the sport this is. Floyd Mayweather, the more owners like that we have come in, the better for the sport is. Oh yeah, another thing I noticed, I guess Tony Stewart obviously is not happy with NASCAR because, when you get $300,000 in penalties in 2 weeks, I wouldn't be very happy either. And you agree to pay $200 of it. So somebody said on social, NASCAR is screwed if Tony Stewart leaves. Huh? I don't know why you would say that, but again, I've been a fan of the sport since 1987. To my recall, Tony Stewart came into the sport. Let me look. Tony Stewart started Cup racing in 1990. His first Xfinity Series start was in 1996. So from 1949 to 1996, NASCAR survived just fine without Tony Stewart. Yeah, I don't think the sport would be screwed if Stewart left. And oh, by the way, Gene Haas owns half that team. I think it's half. It could be more than half. I don't know the exact splits. So yeah, if Tony Stewart wants to take his ball and go home because he's not happy because his teams have been fined $300,000 because 1, they cheated, and 2, they tried to manipulate the end of the race. Okay, fine, take your ball and go home. That's fine. And then someone else on the same article commented, if Roger Penske left the sport, if Rick Hendrick left the sport, and there was somebody else listed there too. Penske, Hendrick, Gibbs was the other one. Well, Mr. H came into the sport in 1984. Again, NASCAR started in 1949. Now, would it be a shame if Hendrick Motorsports went away? Yeah, I'd cry. I've been a Hendrick fan for a long time. But I was a Jeff Gordon fan for like ever and a day, and I always loved some of the other drivers they had driving for him. His help with junior motorsports, yeah, it'd be kind of it's kind of neat. But if he went away, he goes away. It'd be sad, but someday everyone does pass on. Penske left. NASCAR would be screwed. Well, he did leave the sport in 1980, by the way. He came in the sport in 72, left in 80, came back in 91, and really only reason he really came back in 91 was because of Don Miller and Rusty Wallace. If it wasn't for Don Miller and Rusty Wallace, he would never got back in the sport. Let's see here. Yeah, in 1990, the team barely made it through the season with the help of Roger Penske funding the team to keep going. By late 90, the team was purchased as a base for Roger's new team. This was Beetle Blue Max Racing. So yeah, I mean, it was a team with a sponsor, and they came up. They just wanted. They just came off a championship a couple years before that, and they had a sponsor. But yeah, I mean, he left once. If he leaves again, yeah, it'd be, damn, Penske's gone. But again, people pass away too. He's pretty old. Yeah, it'd be a strike, but it wouldn't be the death of NASCAR. Same with Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs came in 92. Yeah, these are three powerhouse organizations, but NASCAR is not going to fold up if they leave. If they threaten to leave, NASCAR is not going to say, whatever you want, whatever you want. No, it doesn't work that way. They're independent contractors for NASCAR. You choose to be a NASCAR team owner. You choose to be a NASCAR driver. You choose to work in the sport. Those are choices you make. NASCAR can make the choice and say, we don't want you here. Bye-bye. Ask Jimmy Mayfield about that. But again, this is all just my opinion of things that have gone on, talk and stuff on Twitter and stuff. So please take a look at this video. If you like it, great. If not, again, my opinion, 100% my opinion. If you do like it, please subscribe to the channel. Please follow me on Twitter at Rob Sports Show. As always, thanks for watching the Rob Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Rob Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports channel content.